So, am I warming up correctly? It's the age-old question. The short answer is everyone warms up differently and needs different warm-ups for their voice. There will be some that might be universal, but in general, don't just take one warm-up and think that's what everybody does and that's what I should be doing. There will be some people that feel they don't need to warm up. That's absolutely fine. I certainly need to. I've always needed a long warm up to make sure that my voice is really at its best. So certainly don't think that if you need to warm up, your voice isn't as good. Absolutely not true. Just sometimes you need a little bit longer to really get everything in the right space. I always start my warm-ups by making sure my posture is right and my breathing is really at its absolute best. So posture, making sure your knees aren't locked, your pelvis is tipped under a little bit, your shoulders are neutral, not rolled forward, not pushed back, things like that, and just making sure that your spine is nice and straight, everything feels very comfortable. I've recently put out a breathing exercises video, which you can have a look at, so you can make sure your breathing is right before you start warming up. So a couple of quick ones that I tend to start off with are really good, and you can have them for every single warm-up just to get you started. I start with puffy cheeks. This is a lovely one because you can warm up without any pressure on your vocal cords. That really lovely one. You can also do the same thing with buzzing lips. Or sirening, which is singing on the NG of sing. Each have their ups and downs, but essentially when you're first warming up, then those are really nice ones to warm up your vocal cords without any pressure. I also like to warm up on my favourite vowel. It's good to figure out what your favourite vowel is. And it's not the one that you think sounds good, but the one that feels really good. Everything in singing, we should be going for the most comfortable feeling because it is possible sometimes to force resonance, which I'll come to in a later video. But for example, that might sound really powerful, but I'm pushing from the wrong place. So E is always a bit of a tricky one for me. Sometimes it will work perfectly and other days it just won't. But the one that seems to work every time for me is ooh. Ooh is just a vowel that works very well for me. It might be different for you. Other people might like R because it's a more open vowel. So I'd, for example, then start getting my range going with an ooh. Ooh. Because I can sing it with that feeling, that free feeling, little tension, and little to no tension, and then I can try and replicate that feeling in the other vowels. And again, all the time checking in with posture and breathing. That's always the main aim for my warm-ups, is to make sure whatever I'm doing, those two things are really in check. So my piece of advice for you, if you're thinking about either changing your warm-ups or wondering why it's not working one day and it is the next, firstly, your normal warm-up, whatever that might be, I certainly have one, but it won't always work. Your body will change depending on if you're tired, if you've had a stressful day, if it's the morning versus the afternoon. Anything could make your body feel different. So it's okay if your normal one doesn't work, you can change it up. It's very useful, I think, to have a couple that work every single time just to get you into it. But then have different array of warm-ups. If one isn't working, just chuck it out and go for the next one on any given day. So that's piece of advice number one. Number two is don't rush it. So many people rush through warm-ups because they want to get to the fun bit of the practice where you're singing through the songs and really enjoying it. The problem with that being, if you haven't warmed up properly, when I haven't warmed up properly, I push from the throat and my technique goes. You always want to make sure your technique is there first and everything you do is fueled by healthy singing. Otherwise, you'll practice in bad habits and the pieces won't be as fun to sing anymore. So just take that extra bit of time to warm up. Don't try and rush it. And the third piece of advice is warm up as an active singer. Don't just go through the motions and say, oh, I've done all of those ones now and I've check them off the checklist. when you're warming up, notice when things aren't working and try and figure out why. So for example, when I did my off vowel earlier, it didn't feel very good. It felt okay, but I felt the connection wasn't quite there. So I'm going to go back to it. So the way up felt much better, much more connected. The way down felt a little bit clunky. So I'm going to come back and do that once more and focus on just the way down. So you can see what I mean, always be an active singer. There's no point in warming up if you're just going to sing through the notes and that's it. The idea of warm up is to get the body connected to the breath, to the core, anything like that, all of that connecting to the sound. And making sure that that's absolutely what you should be doing. So you can now tell me, are you warming up correctly? If you've got any questions about how to warm up, your routines, do ask any questions. If I've got any advice on how to improve it, or if you're finding that some days that it's just feeling really tight, if I've got any tips and things like that, just pop them in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you're interested in individual singing lessons, you can email me at info@jessicanorton.co.uk. I'm still working online, so do feel free to drop me an inquiry. If you're interested in any of my workshops that are upcoming, then the link is in the description, and I will be back with more videos soon.